Hi guys, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to cut and sew a 3-in-1 dress. If you are new here, you are welcome. Please subscribe and remember the notification bell. In that way you'll be notified anytime I upload a new video. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. So the reason why I call this dress a 3-in-1 is because I'm going to cut half length from shoulder to waist, and I'm going to cut from waist to my knee and from my knee to the length I desire. That is why I call it a 3-in-1 dress. I have this material here. I'm going to start with the top. On the back for zip, I will measure 2 inches. If you have enough material, you can use 2 inches allowance for zip. If you don't have, you can use 1 or 1.5 inch. So I mark 2 inches on the back for zip. Half length is 16 inches plus 1 inch to sew. The 1 inch I add to sew is to use half inch to sew on the shoulder and half inch to sew on the waist. So I will measure 17 inches. Shoulder is 15 inches, divided by 2 is 7.5 inches. I add half inch to sew. So I have 8 inches. Placing my tape on the shoulder, I will measure down 9.5 inches. This for bust and this for armhole. Bust is 44 inches, divided by 4 is 11 inches, which is here. I add 1.5 inch to sew. This is armhole. Waist is 36 inches, divided by 4 is 9 inches. This is 9 inches. I will add 2 inches to sew. I will sew that with 1 inch here, and I will sew the side with 1 inch. Neckline is 3 inches. I will cut with half inch on the back. So on the shoulder, I will measure half inch to cut. A notch here and here. So I will cut the front. Remember, I fold back into 2, so I also fold front into 2. I will place back on top and then cut. So this for the back and this for the front. So from here is 4.5 inches. I will measure 4.5 inches and 4.5 inches. I'm going to overlap the front. I'm going to cut neckline for the front. I'll cut with 1/2 inch, just like the back. Like this. I will notch here now. I use the back neckline to cut the front neckline. So this is where my 3 inches is. This one is 4 inches, which is the extra, which I'm going to lap. This is the neckline here. This is where I mark, and I notch here and here. So I'm going to place my tape on the shoulder here now, and I will measure 7 inches. You can measure 6.5 inches. You can measure 8 inches, depend on what you like. I'm going to mark this way. I've made similar style, next style on a blouse. I will leave the picture here so you can see, or I will leave the video link in the description box. You can go and check it out, how I cut and sew that blouse. It's the same neck style. So this is how I will cut here. I will cut here. And it's going to come this way. So I've made this style before on a blouse. You can go and check it out. I'm going to cut the middle part. I fold my material into 2. After folding into 2, I will mark 2 inches on the back for zip. I'll bring the front this way and place on top this line the 2 inches. After folding into 4, this is into 2 and this is into 2. 16 inches is the half length. The first one I cut 16 inches. I will remove it from the middle one, which is the second one. I will measure 41.5 inches. So that means the middle one is 25.5 inches. Waist is 36 inches divided by 4 is 9 inches. This is 9 inches plus 2 inches to sew. I will sew that with 1 inch and sew side with 1 inch. So I have 11 inches here. Placing my tape on the waist, I will measure 13 inches, which is the hip. Hip is 56 inches divided by 4 is 14 inches, which is here. This is 14 inches. I have 1 inch remaining to sew, which is enough. I will measure down part 48 inches divided by 4 is 12 inches. This is 12 inches. I will add 1 inch to sew. I will notch here and here. So for that, I will measure 4.5 inches. Then I will notch here. I'm done cutting this. This is the middle part. I'm going to cut the flared. That is for the down part, the one I will sew here. That is why I call it 3-in-1 dress. This one is the first one, which is the half length. This one is the middle one, and I'm going to cut flared for the down parts. I'm going to fold into 2. I will bring this way, just like this. I leave ½ inch on the back to sew, just to stitch with ½ inch on the back. I'm going to measure from the tip here where I can get my 48 inches here. This is where I will sew on the 48 inches on the down part. So I'm going to measure 15 inches to see. I will measure 15 inches all through like this. 15 inches and 15 inches. Then I will measure to see if it's up to 12 inches. This is 11.5 inches, which I think is enough, but let me measure, just add little. That is 15.5 inches, 15.5 inches, 15.5 inches, and 15.5 inches. So yes, I have 12 inches here. I'm going to measure this for the front and this for the back. Remember, I leave ½ inch on the back to just to sew with ½ inch. So I'm going to measure for the front. I'm going to measure 9 inches plus sewing. I'm going to use 8 inches for the length, but I will measure 9 inches. So I will use ½ inch to sew on this 12 inches, and I will sew the down part with ½ inch. So I'm going to measure 9 inches. From here down here is 9 inches. I will continue with my 9 inches, just like that. Then I will mark. So I will first cut here. I'll cut the front, then I will measure the back. So I will measure back 15 inches. 15 inches. On the side, this is the side of the flared, I will measure to join the front. So on the side here, I measure, so I'll mark this way to join the side. This is the side. I notch the side in the front, so I will sew back with ½ inch here, just like this. It's like this. You can see this is the back and this is the front. It's just a simple flared like this. This is the front and this is the back. I have the one to turn the neck, the front neck here. I place on top. I will sew here. I'll sew here. I will cut the one for back neck. I'll place this way and sew. I will sew that here on the back and the front, and for the middle one I will do the same. I will sew that here. For zip on the back, I will measure 11 inches. From here, I will not sew here. I will sew just from here to here. I will sew here. I will leave here open I'm going to start to sew now. We'll start with the neck, turning of the neck, and sew the middle one. I've joined the flared on the down parts. I'm done joining this place when I hem the down parts. So I'm going to sew and show you when I'm going to join the two sides. I'm done turning the front neck. And I sewed that on the middle one, the back and the front. So for the back neck, I'm going to cut another style of neck, placing my tape on the shoulder. I measure 11 inches. Remember, I have 2 inches here for zip. I will measure 2.5 inches here. This from here to here is 11 inches, and I measure 2.5 inches here. I'm going to cut here. I will notch these 2 inches. This is a 4-corner neck or a rectangle neck. I'm going to cut the one to turn the neck. Then after then, I will sew just like I sewed the front neckline. When I'm done doing that, I will sew the two sides because I've already sewed that here and also on the front. For the back, I sew here and leave 11 inches here open without sewing because I'm going to sew zip here. I'll sew this way, and on this side, this is the one to turn the neck. I'll fold this place where I'll sew zip on inside like this, and place the one to turn the neck on top and sew all the way up. Done sewing back neck. I will join the shoulder first before joining the two sides. There's the back shoulder and front shoulder. I place this way, and I will use the one I use in turning back shoulder to cross to the front shoulder this way, and sew here. I will do the same here. I will cross the one I use in turning back neck and cross over to the front shoulder and sew here. After doing that, I will measure bust and waist and sew. I will do the same on the middle part. I will place on top and measure 36 inches on the waist, divide by 4. I will sew, and I will sew hip in the down part. After doing that, I will join the flared on the down part. I'm done joining the shoulder, and I join the two sides. This is the back. This is where I will sew zip on. This is the back where I will sew zip on, and this is the front. And I also join the side of the middle one. I join the side. So I'm going to sew. I'm going to sew here now. This is where I will sew zip on. I will sew on the back here and find the center. I will sew from the back to the front and back here. So after sewing, I will sew this blade on the down parts. That is why I call this style 3-in-1. I'll sew on the down part. I'll place on the rear notch and I will sew round. I'm done joining the waist. This is where I will sew zip on this place. I join the waist and I join the down part, the flared. This is the back. This is the front. So I'm going to sew zip here. I have my black zip. I'm going to sew here. Sew here and here. That's how it looks like. So let me show you the down part. What I will do now is to hem the armhole. I will hem with 1/2 inch here. I will hem with 1/2 inch and sew the armhole. After doing that, I will sew tiny rope and use it to hold here like this and hold here this way. This is the rope I sew on the shoulder. And I just use this to hold here, not to open down. If you don't have something like this at home, you can sew with your machine or with your thread and needle. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are new here, you are welcome. Please subscribe and remember the notification bell. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. And if you have any question concerning this video or any of my videos, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you all in my next